I've always been considered as a weird child, but now I can understand that I was just born like this and it's a part of me. I'm just more like at peace with myself, so when people think I'm weird, I'm like, yes, I am, and also.
Hello from Olomouc, Czechia, and welcome to the series Canto Learner Highlight, where I talk to different Cantonese learners and ask them about their experience and any special stories that they may have on their journey. So we are just after the Polyglot Gathering 2024, and I've come here all the way to Olomouc to visit my friend KAMILA, or Matla.
Hello, Pakao.
KAMILA is also an accomplished polyglot. She is a doctoral student in sinology, studying things related to Chinese languages, which we'll get more into later, but she also speaks German and Russian fluently, and obviously she speaks English, and I forgot to mention, she's Czech. I should have mentioned that. I didn't meet her on one of the Cantonese learner groups. She went straight to the Hong Kong language lovers group and interacted with us like a native speaker. So I was already quite impressed, and I thought, while I'm here in Czechia, I might as well find a chance to talk to her for this series. And I have to say, interacting with KAMILA or Matma online has been one of the most frequent and also most natural interactions in Cantonese I've had with a non-native speaker. And so if you want to hear us talk about not only our motivations for learning Cantonese, but also special strategies from someone who's been dealing with Chinese language for a while, and maybe some stories related to neurodivergence in language learning, keep watching. And of course, especially if you want to hear KAMILA's Cantonese at the very end.
So I grew up speaking Czech, that's my mother tongue and the only language. I wasn't raised bilingual, but since childhood I had a deep interest in languages in general. So first I started to learn English, as everyone at primary school. Then I chose German as my second foreign language. Most people here in Czechia, they learn one or two languages, and I wanted to learn more because I was really good at it. So I decided to learn Russian. I was somehow drawn to languages that have different script than like Latin alphabet. So I started to learn Russian, and then later I was also interested in non-European languages or not Indo-European languages, so I was thinking which language I should choose, and many people told me that Mandarin Chinese could be an advantage in the future because many people can speak it. So I decided to learn Chinese, and actually at university I double major Russian philology and Chinese philology, so it's basically like linguistics.
At the same time, is the interest in scripts also the same thing that drew you towards the Chinese languages then? Is it the main thing?
Yeah, probably. Maybe it's not the only thing, but I would say it definitely played a role in that decision to study such languages.
So what else draws you to learning these very difficult, very different languages?
I somehow thought it would be interesting to learn something not European, just to get to know or to learn a completely different system of thinking and culture.
And now you have a pretty good understanding of like our East Asian cultures.
I hope so. I'm trying, but I'm learning every day.
At least you're studying them as an academic, right?
Yeah.
So I know that you not only have studied Russian and Chinese here in Czechia, but also you have done like years of at least time abroad.
Yes.
In the countries of the target languages. So where have you been so far?
When I was in high school, I went to England and Germany for like exchange trips. I also had friends in Austria, so I frequently visited them. So these trips helped to improve my German. And then later, when I studied at university Russian and Chinese, I went to Russia 3 times.
3 times?
Yes. Once it was 1 month, then again 1 month, and then 3 months. And then I went to China for, well, it was supposed to be for 1 year, but because of the pandemic situation later I wasn't able to return to China, but I still spent there 4 months, and I think it really helped me to improve the language knowledge.
Where did you go in China?
In Guangzhou. Guangzhou. in the
Is
south.
that what eventually drew you towards the Cantonese language?
Yeah, because I wanted to learn more about the culture. Like I was always interested in that language. I thought Cantonese was very like melodic, and I liked the sound. But of course, when I went to Guangzhou, I didn't know so much, and I've heard some people speak it there, and I was interested in it and wanted to start learning it there in Guangzhou, but there were not so many opportunities, or at least I haven't, maybe there are, but I haven't came across them. I know that at the university there was some class, like Cantonese class, but it was for students who already somehow speak it at home, maybe at a lower level, maybe they don't know Cantonese so much and they want to improve, so it wasn't very suitable for people who have never learned it. And since that time I was thinking about learning it, yeah, so definitely it has somehow contributed to my interest in learning Cantonese.
Surprisingly, you are my first interviewee who came to Cantonese via Mandarin. I think in general it's way more common to do that, but somehow you're the first one in this series. So how did you actually start? Did you go to some course, or did you just figure out how to say things on your own?
Originally, I didn't know where to start because the resources were not so
not like Mandarin.
Not like Mandarin. Here at Palacký University Olomouc, there in the Department of Asian Studies, sometimes there is a possibility to study other languages than like Mandarin, Chinese. So of course there's the Japanese section, Korean section, Vietnamese section, and sometimes if there are teachers who speak another language, it's also possible to learn other languages. I know they had Uyghur classes or Taiwanese classes because there were Taiwanese teachers, and also other classes.
Taiwanese Hokkien.
Yeah, Taiwanese Hokkien, and also Cantonese, which it depends how many students are interested and how many enroll at the particular class, and if there are like interns who came to do internship here and maybe they teach Cantonese, then also they open a Cantonese class sometimes. So I enrolled in that class, but of course it's a class for one semester, so it's maybe 14 lectures, and it's more like an introduction. It's not enough. I tried to learn something by my own, but then I found out that it's not that efficient. I still think that you need to meet with a teacher or a lecturer from time to time, like because you need another person's opinion, another person's view so they can tell you, oh, you make mistakes here, and what should you improve. So then in December, 2023, I found some teachers online, so I started to learn with or study with teachers online. My teacher provides me with resources, vocabulary. So I always try to learn the vocabulary and repeat them. And a typical problem that I have, because I have learned Mandarin before, so I know the characters, but some characters I can't really recall them. Maybe in Cantonese, and always there's Mandarin somewhere. So I have to pay more attention to the pronunciation, oh, this character has this pronunciation in Mandarin, but this one in Cantonese. So yeah, I have to. This is what I'm paying more attention to, because this is more difficult for me. And also, I'm trying to look for films or resources, videos that have Cantonese subtitles, because
Cantonese subtitles.
Yes, but it's difficult to find. But from my experience, before when I learn other languages, it's really helpful to have to hear the voice and to have a visual input. So you read the subtitles and listen to it at the same time. So whenever I found some resources like videos that have Cantonese subtitles, which is rare, I use it always, because that is really helpful for me to train the understanding of spoken Cantonese. Yeah.
So this is a time for the shameless plug, because if you have a certain understanding of Cantonese and you're interested in languages, remember to subscribe to our podcast 水影狂想, because we talk about languages all the time in Cantonese, sometimes linguistics as well, and we always have full transcripts in Cantonese, very faithful transcriptions. So this is one resource that I would recommend. A little bit biased, yes, but I think it's a really good resource. I'm sure Mat has listened to it as well.
Yeah. Not all of them, but yeah, I'm when I have some free time, I'm trying to listen to it too. Yeah.
Of course you are. It's a good show. Okay, you've been learning Cantonese for how long?
I would count it as like half a year.
Half a year?
Yeah, because I had it for one semester, but because there were like 4 students in that class with me, and it was also about cultural background. It wasn't really much like learning Cantonese. So I would say I would count learning Cantonese as like half year. If I count it since December 2023.
Like a more active way of learning. Since December?
Yeah.
And you are interacting with us like a native speaker.
No,
at least in writing, right? At least in writing.
At least in writing, yeah. In speaking and listening, comprehension and other things, I need to train much more. Mm-hmm. Knowing Chinese characters has already helped me a lot. So for me, the most difficult part is just like training, listening, speaking, and also maybe finding people that I can talk to in my real life. Yeah, I'm still trying to find someone, and I hope that maybe I will have the opportunity. Yeah. Maybe
this is an invitation.
Yeah.
For someone, if you want to practice Cantonese with her, if you want to help her practice Cantonese, then this is your chance to talk to this very talented linguist, and an actual linguist, not just language person, but actual academic linguist. You have learned several languages. How would you compare the experience of learning Cantonese to the other languages? The obvious comparison with Mandarin, right? But Mandarin has sort of become your stepping stone. So how does it feel different when you compare it with Cantonese to Mandarin or German or Russian?
On the internet, there's a lot of videos that are in Cantonese, spoken in Cantonese, but there are Mandarin subtitles, which really annoys me. I can understand why it is, because maybe people want to reach to a bigger audience who doesn't speak Cantonese, but this is the lack of resources is like more difficult part, because it's not that you just go somewhere on a website or just online and look for resources and then listen to it and read the subtitles. You have to spend more time like just looking for the resources. As it's not like officially codified or standardized, it's just more difficult to find some official textbooks. Like, yeah, it's possible, but you have to put more effort into it. But I think it's still worth it. I still enjoy it very much. Yeah. Sometimes it has happened to me that I have downloaded some resource like a video or a movie, and even I found like Cantonese subtitles. It was written like Cantonese subtitles, and I downloaded the subtitles, and then I found out that they were in like standard written Chinese, which was annoying. I don't know why they wrote it was in Cantonese. So it's so different. It doesn't help at all. So I'm always like, oh no. I was diagnosed with autism like just 2 years ago, and I think it actually is the reason why I'm so deeply interested in languages, because autistic people have a lot of these so-called deep interests, so that's why they often have 1 or 2 or maybe maximum 3 interests that are very deep, and they annoy everyone with talking about it. Oh, I know it's a stereotype, and maybe not everyone is like that, but I would say it's a common feature. And for me, my main interests are languages, so I do languages like let's say for a living, because I study in PhD. It's also my main hobby, so I talk about linguistics or languages non-stop. It's a part of my identity through the autistic spectrum, let's say.
Yeah. Since you got the diagnosis, how much have you learned about yourself, and do you think that has had an influence on how you understand your own hobbies and interests?
I've always been considered as a weird child, and I didn't know why.
You do like calling yourself weird?
Yeah, it's not just that I like it, it's just really, it's my experience, because people have always called me like that. And sometimes, of course, it made me a bit sad, but now I can understand that I was just born like this and it's a part of me.
Would you say you owned it?
Yeah, I would say, yeah. Some people don't notice it, some people do, but now when I found out and when I got the diagnosis, the official diagnosis, I'm just more at peace with myself. So when people think I'm weird, I'm like, yes, I am, and what?
Okay, let's go back to the language learning thing. Do you think your weirdness has sort of factored into the way you learn your languages?
Yes, because I would say I have a certain sensory sensitivity. The negative side is that I'm easily distracted, so...
Oh, me too.
So when I was in class during my primary school, it really affected my learning, that I was easily distracted by the sounds or by my classmates. But then I think I'm also able to have so-called hyperfocus, which means I focus very deeply, and then this helps me to absorb what I learn much more. So these are two extremes, there's nothing in between, so I have to somehow try to get into the hyper-focus mode. Yeah.
Oh, can you actively try to do that? Is that a thing? Or is it just random? Today I'm hyper-focused.
Sometimes it's random, but yeah, I found some ways how to do it, even though it's difficult. But if I'm in this hyper-focused mood, then I'm trying to use it somehow, yeah.
So how do you enter that mood? Is it
For instance, when I'm learning something, so I open my computer or other resources that I have. Sometimes I even put on my headphones, so I would be separated from other sounds. And I need to read the thing or look at it for a longer time, or even try to repeat it loudly, the words, my vocabulary, for instance. Yeah, it just takes 5 or 10 minutes at least, and I have to completely ignore other sounds or anything that is happening. This feature is a bit unusual, but if I get into this mood or in this state, it really helps me to learn something deeply.
I don't know if that's in any way similar, but that strongly reminded me of how I switch between languages, because when I'm thinking in, let's say, German, and then somebody talks to me in Cantonese, for example, I might end up not responding or responding in German. It's like how you set your brain space at a certain time. I don't know, because I heard a thing that says people with autism are great at imitating people because they've had to do it all their lives. They need to imitate how neurotypical people interact with each other, and that makes them better at learning a new culture or language. Has that been your experience?
I don't think I'm trying to do it. It just happens naturally somehow.
Okay.
I'm not even aware of it. Yeah, when I see how people speak, and when I hear what they say, I let's say a phrase or something, I can remember it much more easily. I remember it from my previous experience with learning languages, when I learned English, German, Russian, or Ukrainian also. I remember that I have heard certain sentences from native speakers, and then later I could recognize that something is maybe not grammatically correct, let's say, or sound somehow unnatural, but I don't know, I couldn't justify why. I just remember, oh, this sounds weird, I never heard it from a native speaker. It's more like a feeling. So when I saw something that felt very weird to me, I would be thinking, oh, I would not say this because I've never heard it from a native speaker, and then later I found that I was right. So I think it's somehow my brain stores it somewhere. So
maybe you're quick at picking up and internalizing patterns in the language.
Yeah, maybe it's the pattern. Yeah,
and then I know that the fourth time is different, and then you notice that might be wrong.
So yeah, these patterns, what I hear from native speakers, I would say it somehow stays in my brain. So maybe that's the autistic feature of remembering or easily recognizing patterns.
Do you think that your neurodivergence has an effect on the way you interact in your target languages? compared to your native language?
Yes, I think it definitely has an impact, but since my childhood, people have told me that I have had like some weird expressions, weird behavior, and even a weird usage of language, which was also one of the things that when I was like going through the official diagnosis, that was a thing for them. There was like a feature that they included in the paper, like using some unusual patterns of speech or different understanding of words or understanding that is too literal. So it is a thing that autistic people have a different usage of language, or I've also have speech disorders, which I used to have in my childhood.
What kind of disorder?
Just not pronouncing the R correctly and Z.
I know, I'm not gonna try it. Okay, that's fine. I thought that was a common problem with Czech learners and speakers in general.
Yeah, for instance, when I started to volunteer for as an interpreter for Ukrainian refugees, I did not know that much Ukrainian. I had just some basics, and when I was listening to people speaking either Ukrainian or Surzhyk, it has helped me a lot just to remember and just to absorb everything by listening, because at that time I had like very intense input.
Yeah.
So even though I wasn't able to speak it fluently, in quite a short time I was able to understand very quickly. So I think that is also finding patterns and memorizing them. Yeah, my brain is just able to do that.
好，默默你而家廣東話學咗唔係好耐，但係你已經明好多啦。咁你對於你嘅廣東話嘅將來，你有咩計劃呢？有冇諗住點樣改善啊，或者點樣同人哋用呢個語言呢？
我而家冇咁多機會同我哋朋友用廣東話，所以如果有多啲機會，我就好開心。所以今年我想去香港做 field research。
做即係你嘅 PhD 嘅一個 field trip。
係。
你會去做啲乜嘢？去幾耐啊？
大概3個月。3個月。呢個係linguistic landscape research。
即係想睇啲人點樣講嘢。
係其實係啲人寫嘢嘅方法。
寫嘢嘅方法。啲人平時寫嘢定係邊度啊？
例係鋪頭、市場。
OK， 公眾嘅地方。即係睇佢哋寫書面語定係寫廣東話。
都有書面語、廣東話，英文。
咁你住過喺俄羅斯啦，你住過喺廣州啦、英國啦，當然喺捷克啦。咁你對於去香港生活幾個月，你有啲咩期望呢？你希望可以做到啲乜嘢呢？
我希望我會見我啲朋友，希望會有機會同啲人溝通。
咁你學咗廣東話一排啦，咁你有同人嘗試溝通過啊，傾偈啊，咁啲廣東話人對於你講廣東話有啲咩反應呢？有啲咩感覺呢？
其實我以前同好少人用廣東話。
OK。淨係我哋。係。咁你鍾唔鍾意同我哋呢班人去溝通啊？
好鍾意。
難唔難啊？
有啲部分難，有啲唔難。咁樣 有機會學多啲。
即係睇我哋講嘢。
係。
咁你做完呢一個 research trip 之後，你做完你個 PhD 之後，你會唔會繼續學廣東話呢？
係啊，因為我學啲語言英文、德文、俄羅斯文都係 C1 level。其實烏克蘭文唔係 C1 level， 但係我希望以後我嘅廣東話都係 C1。
C1，咁你自己你對於你學嘅目標係乜嘢呢？你想可以做乜嘢呢？
就係同啲朋友溝通。
呢個就係主要嘅目標。
係。
咁你仲要學幾耐先去到你想要嘅程度呢？
我唔知道幾耐，但係我就會一直學廣東話同其他語言。
好，多謝你，多謝你支持廣東話。咁我哋今日就傾到呢度啦。我都係覺得你幾個月唔係6個月左右學到明晒我講咩，真係我覺得好犀利。咁咧我就嚟要返屋企啦。I'm going to be leaving Czechia in like a few hours. But it's been really nice to hang out with you not during, but after the polyglot gathering. We had some troubles finding each other during the event, but afterwards we spent some nice time together. Thanks for showing me around all the modes, and I hope to visit you again in the future if possible. And you should visit me as well.
Okay.
We have lots of Cantonese people in Manchester. So I hope you enjoyed this Canton Learner highlight. I think it's been quite interesting. I mean, everyone has unique stories to tell, right? This is the third one. If you are learning Cantonese and would like to be featured in this series, and we can somehow meet in person somewhere, then please do let me know. Otherwise, I hope you're feeling inspired by the very talented Kamila Matmat. Write something down in comments to encourage her to keep going, and I wish her a very nice trip to Hong Kong.
Okay, thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode of Canto Learner Highlight, I'm sure you'll find the previous ones inspiring as well. So click this link to see how Cantopop shaped Daisy's life, and this link to see how Christian learns Cantonese without even trying.